Greetings and salutations, viewers. I'm StarPrincessHLC, and welcome back to Autumn's Journey. When I last left off, we met another dragon friend who's gonna accompany us on our journey as we attempt to help our grouchy dragon friend to essentially get back to being a dragon. Patches just decided to say hi, but either way, we arrived late afternoon in this strange little village. I'm not quite sure what we're doing here, but we're here. Berry was a small farming community nestled by the riverbank, perfectly situated between large cities. It had at least 36 houses, many with their own farmland, and sprawling orchards beyond the river. Of course, it also had an inn for travelers, which was becoming popular thanks to the improved roads. Ilmari was thrilled, gasping over every little thing while his eyes excitedly darted from one house to the next. Care simply rolled his eyes and remained withdrawn as we walked over to my family's house. I admit I was concerned. Their ears weren't exactly natural, and Ilmari's hair color was striking even from a distance. There were a few people who passed and gave curious glances, but they relaxed when they saw that I was accompanying the newcomers. Yay! You knew everyone in Berry, especially if you lived here for most of your life. When we reached my house, I motioned over to Ilmari and Care. Can you two wait here for a bit? I need to talk to my parents first. I just can't invite strangers in. It would be kind of weird, especially considering you're both male, and you both have weird ears, and one of you has very bizarre hair color. Is it some sort of heaven kind formality? Yeah, formality, something like that. That's why it's important you two don't wander off.
Of course.
Right. And of course, Care is just like Mr. Grumpy Guts over there. I mean it. I opened the door and closed behind me, stepping into the cozy room. Mom? Dad? I hope they didn't leave to search for me. That would be partially my fault. Yeah, there's no cell phones excuse me, in this world. Aura? Mom! My mom looks eerily like the girl from Sword Art Online, just saying. I was embraced in a tight hug. My mother worryingly checked my face before stepping back. Where were you? Your dad got all anxious and I kept telling him you would be alright. But when night came, I'm fine. The reason why my scanning took so long was because I bumped into two travelers. They're not amnesiac? Nope. And mystical-looking pendants on them? They have some simple jewelry, but no pendants. Dark and mysterious pasts? Pretty sure not. One is a spell Brad, and the other seems like he would be the youngest of a dozen siblings. Good. I've had too many troublesome experiences with people like that. Let them into a village, and the next instant it's on fire. That's my girl. Right. Always thinking of everything. Where's Dad? I'm starving. She laughed at my carefree comment. He should be back soon. She leaned to one side, looking past me. You can let your friends in if you'd like. I turned to see Ilmari gingerly tapping the glass and putting his hands all over it in bafflement. He looked like a performing mime. He's in a box. What is this brilliant substance? You can see beyond it, but it's a barrier. Not from around here? You could say that. He's sort of a dragon. Once we sat down at the table, Kara was content leaning against the wall, being sullen, like a brooding pain in the ass that he is. I quickly explained the situation. I left out the punishments since I had a feeling Kara would get embarrassed. Here, in the first place, they'll be observing our customs and looking at some of the altars we built. That sounds wonderful. I know there's been more interaction between both races lately, but I'm out of the loop now. Mom used to be the captain of the guard for the city of Oliver, but had long since retired, probably to settle down and have a family. My fault. She kept performing various protection services for travelers and merchants, patrolling Berry, and even taught sword fighting. We were hoping to leave first thing in the morning. And walk the whole way? I could always swim, but it's been hard to navigate in this river recently. A lot of heaven-kind activity. None of us fly. I guess you could always hire a coachman. Actually, there's a small group of merchants heading for Oliver, and they won't leave until tomorrow afternoon. I had initially offered my services, but if you think you can handle it... You mean it? I can arrange it right now. Up for the challenge? It'll be your first real job outside of Berry without me. Of course, I'll protect them to the best of my ability. She laughed at my enthusiasm and excused herself, letting the dragonkind know that they are welcome to stay overnight. I grinned and pumped a fist into the air. Yeah! And then she got stuck there for like 10 hours. And everyone's like, what do we do about this?
I'm going to be a real knight!
Oh my goodness. She is so excited she's got stars in her eyes. I feel like this is my first step into real knighthood. A knighthood? Well, probably more like a mercenary. You get hired to protect people and make sure they arrive at their destination safely. That's a good thing. That way we can get to Oliver and learn a little and earn a little money. We can also learn about money too, because I have no idea what the currency is in this place. However, if I could ask my mom something later, then I'd really be a knight. I could have left for Oliver any time, but I needed something important first. I was probably grinning like an idiot, but I didn't care. When I heard the door open, I knew it was my dad and immediately jumped up. Mom was likely on her late patrols again and wouldn't be back for a while. You two must be hungry. Is there anything you'd like to eat?
Thank you.
Well, I'm open to anything. I've never tried heaven-kind food before. We'll try our best to make you something you like, Ilmari. Care? He's gonna be Mr. Grouchy Guts again. He pondered first and then reluctantly looked up. Yes? Those, the one that had the apple slices on it?
Right.
Oh, apple tarts, of course. Pastries are my dad's specialty. He'll make some for you. The smallest of smiles appeared on Kier's face, but it quickly vanished. He has to keep up the brooding atmosphere, you know. At least there was something heaven-kind related that he enjoyed. Our meal was pleasant. I was surprised my dad got Kier to say more than a few lines. My dad always had a way of winning people over through his cooking. Can we see a look at what your dad, looks like? We've seen what her mom looks like. Is the dad not important enough to get a Sprite? Or Avatar or whatever? Ilmari found our eating traditions extremely complicated, well, with all the dishes and utensils used, but kept getting drawn to the windows again. He's easily amused, I guess. If I ever let him loose in a stained glass church, I snorted behind my cup thinking about it. Oh, that must be an amazing thing. When Mom returned, I pulled her away from the group for a private chat. Is it all arranged so I'll be able to guard the carriage tomorrow? Yes. Then, so going to Oliver anyway, can you write a letter recommending me for knighthood? In Oliver, there was a special guild for knights. People trained by revered knights could be endorsed to serve under the Sun and Moon Council. If I was going to Oliver now, this would be the perfect opportunity to join them. With Mom's name, they would not refuse me. If anything, they'd usher me out with open arms. My mom sighed and rubbed her forehead, already tired of the persistent conversation. Honestly, Aura, I still don't think you're ready and mature enough to... I'm ready! I'm ready! I'm ready! As I bounce around the room like a kid who just ate a huge plate of ice cream. Not only that, I could help help the dragonkind better. Please? She chuckled weakly, but I could tell she was still firm in her decision. Look, I'll think about it. For now, you can assist Kier and Ilmari just fine without the rank. I gave her a petulant look, but gave in. Well, not like I have much choice, it's your mom. Alright, I'm glad you're at least considering it. Thanks, Mom. I returned to the others who were finishing up their meal. As I got out the dishes, Dad glanced toward the stairs. Would you like to spend the night here? Well, that turned strangely awkward for no apparent reason. You already done so much for us. We also prefer spacious places, so we'll be fine outside. You sure? Do you see us living in these things? Not really. We still have some time before it gets dark. I can show you around the town if you'd like. Ilmari brightened immediately.
I'll go.
Oh, of course you will. You're adorable.
I don't care.
Pass. Weren't you ordered to learn more about heavenkind?
Annoying.
You can just summarize it for me. I'm more about finding the altars. Which are locations you visit after you learn.
Let's do this.
Let sleeping dragons lie, Ilmari. We can have fun without Crabapple sulking along. I grabbed Ilmari's hand and led him outside, deciding to show off the orchards the town specialized in. As we walked down the road, we passed a farmhouse where 4 children ran around playing tag. When one spotted us, he waved and the other 3 eagerly scampered towards us. Aura, come play! Another time chase. The youngest sibling crept forward and gazed up at Ilmari curiously. Your ears are funny. Oh god, and her name's Heather, too. That's kind of funny. Is that a bad thing? Not at all, they're really cute, don't you think, Heather? Well, she giggled. They look like butterflies. This Heather's not very bright. The children pried Elmari and ran around till their mother called them back. Although I did not expect that, Elmari seemed to have enjoyed himself. How sweet. They're all siblings, so they play together a lot. Siblings? They're all related? Yeah, it's not common to have large families here, although I am an only child myself. What about you? I guess you were, like, the youngest of a dozen? No, I'm actually an only child, too. It's extremely rare for Dragonhide to have siblings. I don't think I've met one that had more than 2. He tilted his head, then glanced at me hesitantly, as if pondering something.
I have a question.
Then for mating season, is it... Oh boy. Alarm bells went off in my head, and I made a giant cross with my arms to dissuade him. Oh no, I'm banning this subject. I'm not talking birds and the bees with a dragon. As if I could accurately answer those type of questions anyway. Plus, I'm fairly certain this game is not rated for mature. If you don't ask, I won't ask how it works between dragons.
I'm sorry.
Ah, right. I agree. He appeared so awkward that I couldn't help but laugh, and we chuckled over our quick diversion.
Right.
Alright, let's keep going. I can show you around one of the farms. Okay. One of the barns was open, which belonged to an old friend of my family. I casually strolled in, pointing to various equipment. Ilmari's gestured to a device in the corner.
I have a question.
What does that do? Oh, it's a churn used to, well, churn milk or cream into butter.
What?
Cream? Butter? Here, I'll demonstrate. Pretending, of course. I approached the cylindrical wooden tub and touched the stave. Basically, you plunge this up and down, and it'll shake the liquid, and eventually it turns into a solid. Milk, cream, and butter are all types of food. As I explained, the house owner entered carrying 2 buckets filled to the brim with something. Hi, Brioni. I saw you showing your friend around. I thought you'd like to demonstrate the real thing. With her eyes smile, she set the buckets down. I wasn't planning on staying. I want to see it. He's such a little kid. It's adorable. Between Amari's persistence and my inability to decline a request from my mom's friend, I gave in. Right, I'll show you, Amari. Then afterwards, you can show him how to milk cows. You're just using me for manual labor, aren't you, lady? Yeah, my thoughts exactly. Fine, I'll do it. I'll do it all. Because I'm a knight in training, damn it. I wasn't sure how, but I got roped into chores while showing Amari around. His questions were endless, and he enjoyed every minute of it. At least you entertained the dear dragon. Whenever I offered for him to take over, he'd shake his head and said that he'd probably mess up. I had the feeling he was just saying that. At least he loved the apple orchard when I was finally able to guide him there. It was late evening when we returned, and I was rolling my aching shoulders. Yeah, that churning of the butter, definitely very hard. Well, I think if you do it all day, definitely. But my calluses of calluses. I haven't done farm stuff in years. I'm surprised I remembered it all. I had been more focused on my sword training and patrolling duties as of late. But did you have fun, Amari? He grinned like a child who had just left the sweet shop with a pocket full of cookies.
That is so amazing.
I did. I thought it was really interesting. I don't know if I'd call it interesting, but I guess I've been here so long that it's all routine to me. If I was a knight, I could do more things. Nothing. Think it out loud. You sure have a lot of questions regarding Heavenkind.
I'm sorry.
Sorry about that. I love learning about new things. In return, if you have any questions about Dragonkind, I'd be happy to answer. He stopped and shyly fidgeted with his hands, and I could tell he anticipated an inquiry. I guess I could ask how he knows our language. I don't know. I feel like it would be inappropriate to ask about touching his ears. You speak our tongue pretty fluently. Did you learn it? Yes, from what I know, Karen was pretty much forced to while I learned on my own. About your own. What is it like? We communicate audibly, of course, but we also use telepathy. What's that exactly? It's sort of like projecting one's thoughts to another person. Of course, you need to wish for the person to pick up those thoughts. Dragonkind don't normally live in close proximity to another, so it's useful to us. That sounds pretty neat. What are you thinking now, if you could project it to me?
Thank you.
About how much fun I had. Thank you so much for showing me around Barry. It was no problem. Anyway, I muffled a yawn. I should get to bed now. We have a busy day ahead of us.
Thank you.
Night, Orly. Thank you so much for everything. It's fine. I had fun too, even if I got dragged halfway across Barry to do odd chores. Once I opened the door to my house, I spotted my mom sitting at the table holding a quill over some blank parchment. I covered my mouth to muffle a squeal. You're doing it! You're writing the letter! I bounced on my heels and launched into a tackle as I hugged my mom from behind. I peered over her shoulders.
I'm going to be a real knight!
You're actually going to do it! You're actually going to do it! I'm going to be a knight! I halted and let go, suddenly confused. Wait, what made you change your mind? My mom laughed and leaned back, flashing me a meaningful smile. Well, I did some thinking, and I thought maybe you were right. You are ready. That's what I've been telling you. Thanks, Mom. Love you and good night. I look forward to reading it in the morning. I dashed upstairs, determined to fall asleep. Let me guess, Carrot stole her bed. However, I couldn't help but toss and turn as I replayed the day's events. Oh, okay, he didn't steal her bed. That's nice of him. And not only Amari's questions, but that I was going to become a knight once I arrived in Oliver. The task to protect the carriage could be viewed as my first duty as a knight. My first real mission. I certainly couldn't sleep now. Oh God, stop squeeing! That is not professional. I hugged my pillow and rolled around, unable to stop my giddiness.
I'm going to be a real knight!
A professional knight, according to the text. Do professional knights normally act like this? I don't care, I'm so happy! To achieve the title of knight, one usually had to be trained at a famous school or academy and graduate from there. Since I did not live in a big city that had such big establishments, I trained solely under my mom instead, and her status and achievements were well known, which was why I needed that letter badly. If she recommended me, other captains or noblemen would probably hire me, and I would serve the Sun and Moon Council. And I'd be able to see more of Ishtara outside of Barry, as a real knight. Unable to remain still, I hopped out of bed and paced restlessly. I approached the window, not sure what I expected. How are those two doing anyway? It's not like Carrot can transform back and sleep how he always does. I wonder if I can find him and check on them quickly. Snatching the blanket off the bed, I wrapped it around my shoulders like an oversized shawl. I then strapped on my belt and scabbard and walked out the door. Outside, it was comfortably cool, and I found the sound of crickets and frogs soothing as I walked beside the river. I guess I anticipated finding Elmari asleep on the bank or underwater. On a whim, I entered the apple orchard. I spotted Elmari sitting against one of the tree trunks. His ears instantly perked up, although I had a feeling he'd heard me approaching earlier. Can't sleep? Something like that. I sat down next to him. He poked at the grass in front of him dejectedly. Care wouldn't bond with me. Huh? Bond? Dragons bond by nestling together. I thought since we were going to be travel companions, despite our differences, he hated the idea, though. Care doesn't seem to be seems to like being touched in general, I can imagine. He stopped and tucked his knees up, his arms resting around his legs. What about you? Is it different between Heavenkind? Well, cuddling is something between family and loved ones. Hugs are more acceptable between friends. What did I know? My mind was full of knighthood dreams and sword skills, and no way was I knowledgeable about Heavenkind relationships. Hug? You put your arms around someone and hold them close. I mimed the action using my blanket. He nodded in understanding. And then I guess you wouldn't, Well, alright, I'll be nice. I'll let you hug me. Declining Amari would be like rejecting a basket full of kittens. Kittens that all looked up at you pleadingly, like Puss in Boots. For a few minutes, I can't stay out here all night. I do need to return to my bed. I shuffled over to him until we were shoulder to shoulder and adjusted the blanket so it draped over both of us. It's not that cold out? Not really, it feels nice. So, forgot to ask this earlier, why are you interested in learning about Heavenkind? Because your culture is fascinating. Huh?
That is so amazing.
Everything a Heavenkind do is amazing. You can create things I've never seen before, and look, you can do this. He wiggled his thumbs and fingers. Aw. They're so dexterous. True, it's like... It is amazing that we have fingers and thumbs and such to grab things. I laughed and mimicked him momentarily. It's true, our kinds are interacting more. I assume you've heard of it.
Of course.
Yes, I'd like to be a sort of mediator. I think you call it a diplomat? I've already tried to help Heavenkind before, but it didn't work out. It's harder than it looks. How so? Well, this one incident, they were willingly entering this monster's mouth, and there was nothing I could do about it.
What?
Wait, a monster? Yeah, this strange one that smells of wood and floats on the river, or the water. I've never seen it before, and the Heavenkind simply enter it. I nudged it a few times, but people seemed upset. And Maury, those are boats. We use those to travel up and down the river.
What?
So it wasn't a monster? He slumped into the blanket, mortified. I patted him on the shoulder, trying to reassure him. It's okay, misunderstandings happen. You had good intentions. And now you'll be able to study Heavenkind at a more personal level. I'll do my best to clarify anything you're uncertain of. In return, tell me more about Dragonkind. That seems fair. I'll try not to ask any more boring questions, though. I mean, what interested me didn't seem so fun for you. I'm never churning butter again. Feeling that our conversation had reached a satisfying note, I clutched the blanket and stood up. You'll be fine by yourself?
Of course.
Yes, I'll see you in the morning. Playfully, I draped the blanket back over him. He, a dragon, might need an extra layer of warmth in a Heavenkind body. Take care, then. As I sauntered back to my house, guided by the bright moon, I spotted Care restlessly pacing by the door. Need something? Amari is past the river if you're looking for him.
I don't care.
Nothing to do with him, but thanks for the heads up since I can avoid him easier. I would have given him a light punch to the shoulder, but I remember he hated contact. Mean. Play nice. He'll be traveling with you after all. I hope you don't mind being stuck with me until we reach Oliver. I think we'll have fun. I'm looking forward to it. I've noticed. I heard you squealing even from afar. My ears couldn't shut it out if I tried. Sorry. It's something I've always wanted to do, and now it's the perfect opportunity. All the experience from my freelance jobs will finally pay off, and I'll be on the road to knighthood. Let's make tomorrow's task a successful one. We're guarding that wagon, so the merchant's cargo will arrive safely in Oliver. Think he can handle it? He wrinkled his nose. An escort mission. Not the most glamorous duty, but it's honorable. And fortunately, it should be easier for you guys than it would be for me, because hopefully there's no quick time events or actual fighting involved, so. Anyway, I'm going to bed. I promise I'll stop squealing. As I was about to open the door, Care stepped forward.
Look,
Wait, He scratched the back of his neck sheepishly, and I was surprised by his rather modest display. Yes? About earlier, when you crammed that food into my mouth. I was joking, so don't worry about it. I'm sorry if it seemed mean-spirited. That wasn't my intention. No, you were right. Huh? Kara seemed both shocked and offended by my reaction.
thanks.
What I mean to say is, you did help me a little. A little? I gave you a walking stick, fed you, fought a giant bird, took you to the altar, got ditched, only for you to come crawling back, and I accepted you a second time. Now I'm starting to wonder why I did. I feigned contemplating, and he glanced away anxiously, dreading that I would refuse to help him now. I stuck my tongue out to appease him. Don't worry about it. Maybe I was right about me having immeasurable kindness. I am grateful, but you exaggerate a bit. You're definitely not the best Heavenkind has to offer. Piqued, I gave him a swift kick to the back of the leg. Ow! Kinda deserved that one.
Right.
You're right, I'm not. But I'll definitely be the best knight. Even if I lost some kindness points with that action, I'll re-earn them tomorrow. Night, Care. Night. I closed the door behind me, resisting the urge to squeal about tomorrow, lest I hurt the poor dragon's ears again. Huh. Crazy, huh? Wow. And now we're already into the next chapter. To Oliver. Well, this is actually going by a lot faster than I expected, but we'll save that for the next episode. But for now, this is StarPrincessHLC saying thank you very much for watching, and have a fond farewell.